Madeira is an archipelago made up of 3 separate islands. You have Madeira itself, Porto Santo and the Desertas Islands. Each island within the archipelago is completely different to one another. Madeira itself is made up of sheer cliffs and really steep hills covered in thick, dense woodland, filled with all sorts of plants and shrubs. Terraces filled with fruit trees, vegetables. It's incredibly colourful. Porto Santo, on the other hand, again, equally beautiful, however flat in comparison to Madeira, but it's also got lovely sandy beaches. The Desertas Islands are completely different to the other 2. They're very barren, but filled with an abundance of wildlife.
When you fly into Madeira, you literally see how varied it is. It's so beautiful. Majority of it's green, and then there's the towns, and it's just absolutely stunning. It's one of the best places for scenery.
The beauty of Madeira is that it offers a great mix of cultures. You've got the British and Portuguese influences there, so this fantastic colonial architecture, wonderful gardens, but it's also incredibly beautiful. The landscape is fantastic, really colourful, luscious plants, and there's so much to see and do activity-wise. You can explore the island via jeeps, you can go on whale watching and dolphin watching tours, you can walk along the famous levadas, and there's also plenty of gastronomy mixed in there for people that like to try the different dishes and drinks that the island offers. Madeira offers a variety of really interesting dishes. Thanks to its location in the middle of the ocean, you'll be trying lots of fresh seafood, so clams, mussels, swordfish, black scabbard fish. Espada is actually one of their traditional dishes, and this is the black scabbard fish with fried banana, which is actually incredibly tasty. You'll also try some of the homemade breads, which they're really famous for. Then one of the more traditional meals that you'll have as a main meal will be the espetada. This is skewered beef, which usually sits in the middle of the table, hung from a skewer. It's been marinated in salt and pepper, bay leaves, and then grilled over an open flame, and it's absolutely gorgeous. There are some really great activities that you can do in Madeira. It's obviously famed for its levadas, so there are plenty of guided hikes that you can do along the irrigation channels from the mountains down to the shore below. There are also fantastic jeep tours available, so you can explore all that the island has to offer and see the variety of the landscape. One of the most popular activities is probably the whale watching mixed with the swimming with the dolphins. There's a variety of sea life around here, and it's a migratory route for whales and dolphins, so the chances of seeing them are very high.
We went out on a little boat, and wouldn't have been more than 20 of us on this boat, and we were sailing out, and honestly it was stunning. Like, looking back at the coastline was just incredible. And then I would say about 15 minutes later we were well out into the ocean, and there was just dolphins and whales just popping out of everywhere. I must have seen about 30 in the space of about 10-15 minutes. It was incredible.
When I travelled there back in October, I was lucky enough to see lots of marine life. We came across 2 different pods of dolphins, so we had the bottlenose dolphins and the Atlantic spotted dolphins. Thankfully it was a really clear day and the sea was incredibly warm, so when we came across the Atlantic spotted dolphins that were playing near our boat, we were able to get down into the water and snorkel alongside them, and that's an experience I'll never forget.
The people in Madeira are really good for wildlife, so they're not intrusive. You watch them from a safe distance where you can see them play naturally and have lots of fun. It's just amazing to see them in their natural environment. Funchal's just really beautiful. Like, the main bit's centred around a square which is full of like little restaurants and cafes, and they have little boutique shops, and it's just so pretty.
Madeira has some really fantastic markets, and within Funchal there are several different ones that you can go to during your time here. Either one that you go to, they're filled with spices, fruits, vegetables, all sorts of lovely tasty things that you can go and buy, taste, and really experience what the island has to offer.
We went on a cable car which is based in the city centre. You go straight up into the mountains, but you're going over the town of Funchal, and it's just, it is beautiful. It's beautiful to see, looking straight out into the ocean as well. Take your camera for this.
Thanks to Madeira's position in the middle of the ocean, it was part of the original trade routes from Europe over to North and South America. Thanks to this, it meant that when the traders were passing through, lots of plant seeds were dropped off, and the island is actually home to plants from almost every continent in the world. This is why it's known as the floating garden in the Atlantic. It's filled with all these beautiful colonial gardens that you can go and visit during your time here.
You're literally astounded by the beauty of them. There's just so much colour and so much variety. And the flowers aren't the only thing to see. A lot of them have stately homes attached to them, which are absolutely beautiful.
Thanks to the Gulf Stream, the weather in Madeira is actually mild pretty much throughout the year, from January to December. We say that the best time to travel is really April to October, just to avoid the slightly colder months and the wetter seasons. Throughout the April to October period, you're looking at a temperature range between 16 to 23 degrees on average, so it's a really mild, nice temperature.
Basically, when you go, you should look at the Madeira's festival schedule, because they have so many fantastic festivals going on.
My top tip before travelling to Madeira would be to research Funchal. There's so much to see and do here, so if you can come with an idea of all the restaurants, cafes, art galleries, museums and markets that you'd like to see, it's really going to make your time here fantastically enjoyable.